sharing this knowledge at no cost. You're just really out here sharing it and spreading this information and not gatekeeping it from anybody. You truly don't have a paywall. You don't have anything like that. And I just think it's cool to be like recognized for that. So I think that's cool.
No, I appreciate it because I mean this is necessary info. I already worked a full day today, like I do every day. I don't get paid for this. Well, actually, that's a lie. I think TikTok paid us what? 64 cents for the last time we were on for like 2 hours. But that's not the reason that we do that, though. I mean, I have a job. I make money at my job. You know, I'm not worried about that. But I want to help you guys either up your careers, do projects for yourself so you don't have to spend that extra money. Find the confidence just to try to figure these things out because there's nobody in any trade, I don't care what the trade or the job is, that just had some special skill at birth that they were born with, unless it's like one of those, what is it, prodigy or, what do they call that, when like a kid just knows how to play the piano?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
That is super rare. That's not everybody out in those trades, okay?
Yeah.
And nobody just all of a sudden knows how to build a house to code. There's nobody that's born with that. They may have a better knack for building, but everything, all of this stuff is just learned. That's all that you have to do is take the time to see what's happening. And it also helps for the teachers, the people that are teaching this stuff, to not gatekeep the information and also to teach people in a way not only that they can understand, but also without ego. So people aren't feeling like they're being talked down to. I'm not a college graduate, you know what I'm saying? But I bet you I could outbuild a college graduate. You know what I mean? Like there's different things. They would know a lot more different stuff that I do because I've spent my life building and not in books. You know what I mean? Everybody has their own special talent, their own special skill, but you never know if you're good at building things unless you try. And here at 2Girls1Cutt, that's what we want to help you do. So always feel free to reach out or comment or ask questions. I'm never going to say, oh, that's a stupid question. Never, never, never.
So JB Tools Whiskey is in the chat. Good to see you, JB.
JB, what's happening?
It says Rockler has kits for Murphy beds. Sue is in the chat and says, what do you recommend for using to dust? Any suggestions? Like in the shop?
To use the dust? To dust what? For like getting rid of dust? What are we talking about? What make is that apron? TikTok Rock. It's made by EcoZen, and this apron is actually, if you go to the link in my bio to the link tree, it'll take you to a couple spots. You can choose the Amazon lists, and you'll find the apron, the Pica pencil that I like to use, and hardware that I use, drawer slides, hinges, all kinds of stuff that I use and believe in. That's the only thing I'm ever going to recommend. And the apron is on there as well.
Gary says, I think what's fun about woodworking is you can make exactly what you want.
You can. And it doesn't mean it always turns out the way you want, but you can plan for it. Right? What are plans? What are those?
Gborg 1999 says, been watching a lot of your videos lately. Had a question in my mind earlier. Let's see if I remember.
Yes, and if you don't, if for some reason we don't catch you here with your question, feel free to reach out. Yep. We do answer every one.
Yep. John says Savant. Yes, Savant was
Savant. Thanks, John.
Miller 91 says, effing love the name.
See, that's how we know you're cool because we got to be able to laugh at things. And that's something that is actually hilarious, right? Katie says, what do you recommend for finish on drawer boxes, specifically for kitchen? Really, you could use a ton of different products. You don't need something that has UV protection. But I mean, if it's in the kitchen and, maybe if you have kids, using something that has more of a water repellent might be nice, like something that is made for exterior. But widely across the cabinet making industry, simple lacquer or a polyurethane, a shellac, a wipe-on poly, any of those would work for you.
Steve the Welder says, I can comment a pic of my coffee table in your last video if you'd like. Or you can email it, whatever you want to do.
Oh, yeah, that would be awesome.
No.
Send it over.
Else too. That's awesome.
I'd love to see other people's crafts. Sue says, dusting in general, what do you recommend? End dust, Murphy's oil?
Oh.
I always just use a feather duster. I mean, why spray products that you have to keep on paying for when a feather duster, it sticks to all the dust and it's just the natural feathers.
I like the fiber.
And I want to say, I got to say this. I stopped eating meat 10 years ago. I would not go out and buy the feather duster any longer, knowing that, you know, it was on a bird's butt, the poor thing. It got yanked out. But it's something I've had for a long time that I continue to use to honor the memory of that animal who was yanked out its feathers.
Let's see.
Love Nug says the live seems awesome. Just got here.
Oh,
Love Nug. Thank you. And you know what? I love Nugs too.
Aiden says, do you still run a shop?
Aiden, yeah, I run my own shop. This is my shop here. I am a full-fledged cabinet maker, finished carpenter, licensed in the state of California. So I work for myself. I do my own work. Sometimes I'll bring in a helper if I need like a body, but you know, nobody knows anything, so.
Yeah.
Turtle says spray lacquer is not as hard as it's made out to be. Just have to be meticulous and determined. You know what, Turtle? Spray lacquer, at least in the state of California, was a lot better before some of the VOC's environmental laws changed. Because it used to, if you got any overspray, it would just totally melt into itself and just make a really nice finish. Where now it's difficult to even find any products like that. You can see where if you have any overspray at all, it's like all over it. So it's been kind of tricky. I do appreciate the care for the environment. It's been kind of tricky trying to get these finishes worked out when they change them on you.
George is asking, what part of California are you in?
George, I am in San Luis Obispo County. We are by Pismo Beach, San Luis Obispo. And JB, I see your Swiffer. Yeah, no, we don't need to use more paper products. I'll just use what I have.
JD says, what's been the hardest part about getting in or being in the cabinetry business?
Katie Lightwin says, what's been the hard part about getting into the cabinetry business? You know what? Really, the only thing that is ever difficult is getting second guessed because I'm a woman. And some people are surprised because they never met me. They talk to me on the phone and they go, well, what's your name? And I said, it's Amy. And then I hear this pause. And then all of a sudden they want to see pictures of my work. And I'm like, you know what? I don't even have to play that game. Go on my website and tell me if my work is up to your standards. And then call me back if you want to. You know what I mean? Like, my work speaks for itself. But that, getting around those ideas is the only thing that, I mean, not that it's been hard, but that's the only hardship that I've really faced. I've had great customers, lots of jobs. There is no shortage of work. There is no shortage of work if you're in a trade. And if you don't have work, it must not be that good or not be in California.
Jim is here in the chat and says, teach me how to measure.
Jim, we were talking about how to measure for almost 2 hours now, but I'm going to go over it for you real quick, okay? If you are not familiar with the imperial measuring system, which also is called standard unit of measure, which is the opposite of the widely used by the world, which is a lot easier metric system, we get to do fractions or not, okay? 16 pieces are in an inch. All of these are called sixteenths, except for if it's an even number, like 12 sixteenths, it's not a proper fraction, so it gets reduced down to 3/4. So there's 3/4 of an inch, which is actually 12 sixteenths. But, you know, mostly, like if you came to me and said, hey, that's 10 sixteenths, I would say you are exactly right. And you know what we also call 10 sixteenths is 5/8. Rather than go, you idiot, that's not how we say it. You know what I'm saying? Freedom units. Okay, Ed. America! Yeah. So that's basically how you measure. We also talked about the, that's how to read a tape measure. There's more on that. I do have a video on this. We also talked about the little foot on the tape measure should be able to go up and down, move in and out of that tape measure as much as the thickness of that foot. You should also keep an eye out that you don't bend that foot or could change your measurement. That must move. That must move. And the reason is for when you hook onto something, you get an accurate reading, and then when you push up against, like you take a measurement internally, you push up against that foot, it moves in so that you get an accurate reading. Otherwise, it would give you a false measurement every single time. Then we talked about the thickness of your pencil lead and how critical it is to actually writing down the correct measurement. And that when you do go to mark your measurement, you want to mark it right down the center of the line, not in front of it, not behind it, right down that center. And then you keep that line. You don't cut that line off when you are cutting. And a lot of times what will happen is if you set your miter saw right up on your line, and then you start the miter saw and then you cut it, it's going to cut the line off. Because there's just a slight little wobble in your blade. All of them have it, some are more than others. But there's just a slight wobble. So you always kind of want to start the saw and have it just a little shy of that line so you can kind of creep up to it. You can always cut more off of the piece if it's too long. But if you've taken your line off, you've already just destroyed that piece and now you need to cut a new one.
John says, and use the same measuring tape on the same project. Don't ask why, I know.
Yes, and do use the same measuring tape on the project because all your measurements will go together. If halfway through my my project build, I switch from this tape to this tape, just because that's how life is, they're going to be slightly different from each other, no matter how accurate they may be on their own. So that's just always a good thing to get into practice of is doing it that way.
So Okie Chicken Lady's back in the chat. Good to see you.
Okie Chicken Lady, what's happening?
And says, or leave it out in the rain until it rusts in place. Don't ask how I know.
You know, you know, even woodworkers that have been doing it a very long time, no matter what you've been doing, make mistakes. Okay. Take me, for instance. I had all of my grain match drawer fronts. I built them all. I put in the little special finger pull. I put polyurethane on them. I set them all up to take a picture to send it to my client, and I saw I messed up 3 of them. Out of 16 drawer fronts, I only messed up 3. But it caused me to have to recut and remake 8 drawer fronts. Pain in the ass, yes.
Beautiful. They're absolutely stunning.
But the whole point is that we make mistakes too. Unfortunately, it cost me almost $200 sheet of walnut and a couple of days of work. But hey, it is what it is. At the end, it's going to turn out beautiful. The client's going to be happy. And that's really all that matters.
So speaking of teach me how to measure, we had a great question from Gold Frame Gold Wrist. It says, how do you measure in between 2 objects?
If you're measuring in between 2 objects, okay, like let's say you want an exact measurement from wall to wall, but your tape, like all of them, falls down like this. And tape manufacturers out there, this is the absolute worst. I spend more time when I turn it over to try to read something like it always does that. Hate it. What you can do is take and measure out to a certain number, whatever that certain number is, as long as you remember it. Let's say you have like wider than 10-foot wall. Let's say you're going to measure over 8 feet. Then you go to the opposite side and you measure over what the difference is and you add those 2 numbers together. You could also have someone hold the tape at the very end if it's really long, right? And if your tape is long enough, then you can scoot it over into the corner and you can do that little trick where you put the little card on with the, oh God, what do you call that? Paper clip. I've gotten used to being able to read exactly how much I've bent the tape and been able to say, okay, I need to cut it at whatever the measurement is. But your easiest way is going to be to measure one way, mark it at a measurement you'll remember, and then measure over from the other way to your mark, add those together.
So you'd measure something differently like the cabinet there. You'd measure the outside differently than you'd measure the inside?
Well, I would measure the outside of the cabinet always by pulling on the tape foot like this. you don't want to do what some people will do, and they'll come over, they'll pull the tape out, right, and they'll hold it in position, and they're holding it flush with the outside of that cabinet. So that means that they're going to be off the thickness of that foot at least. So if you're trying to measure the inside, you're not pulling this. Sorry. So instead of doing that, you would always hook it on an outside measurement if possible. For an inside measurement, you're going to push the tape foot up against it and measure that way. What you're not going to do is pull the tape foot, pull the tape foot out and have it be pulling on that tape foot, even though you're pushing the tape foot against the inside, if that makes sense to you, because you have to push against that tape foot to get an accurate measurement. Yeah, now this is just the absolute worst. I mean, and this is a Fat Max, and it's like, oh, it can go out this far without breaking. Great, Stanley, but I can't go over 2 feet without it just falling like a wet noodle.
Gary says, according to my dad's reaction, saying a measurement is whatever number of the black mark is. Saying a measurement is whatever number of the little black marks is. Wrong.
8 little black marks. That will start you out. At least you're taking the time to count them. And then 8 little black marks is 8/16. So what does that make it? Who's been paying attention?
Me.
If you have 8/16, what does that make it? What's the measurement called? No, you have inside information.
I don't retain anything. Are you kidding me?
I don't retain anything. Half inch. Yeah, see Scranton Strangler.
There we go.
Dang it, Bobby. Dang it, Bobby. Hannah, you see, you guys were all paying attention, or you already know. Gary's got it too, because if you're just one of those people that's like, it's like the halfway point and a couple little marks, you're almost there, because you already know that all these little marks, there's going to be 16 little marks, and this is 8. So if you had the half line and 2 little marks, you got 5/8. You're doing it.
So
dang it, Bobby, you built your first bookshelf. Well, good for you, Bobby.
Says, or you can use the measurement on the back of the tape measure, but why do it the easy way?
You could use the measurement on the back of the tape measure. You could. If your tape measure hasn't been ground off on the back, okay? If you actually know that it's there, and unless I've actually measured my tape measure, I'm not trusting anybody on that. A lot of times they will have a measurement back here so that you can take and put it right in the corner. But also, you have to make sure that nothing sticks out past that. See how this one humps out? There's the stopper and then humps out. So the measurement that they wrote on this tape goes from here to here. So how's that helping anybody?
Let's see here.
Where are the best places to get wood sheets? At a local, Bobby, at a local hardwoods dealer. If you don't know where that is, Google it or find out from a local cabinet maker where they buy their plywood. Not at Home Depot. No.
Gborg is still here and says, is there a benefit to using a finished panel on the end of a cabinet rather than finishing the side with laminate or veneer or whatever?
Well, there is, it looks better. It also allows you to build your cabinets with, if you're building them, screwing them together, it also allows you to go ahead and do that and not have to use biscuits or dominoes or something to connect that end panel and wait for that end panel to glue up, because you could just screw all your cabinets together, make your cabinet run, and then add a finished end panel. That always looks great. Plus, you can make a finished end panel that comes out and goes flush with your drawer fronts, which is always a nice little added touch.
Hannah's in the chat and says, just got into the Carpenters Union.
Hannah, you did?
Good for
Oh,
you.
that is awesome for you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yes,
It's so awesome to see another woman in the trades, let alone union. That's awesome.
So Scranton Strangler says, how long as an American did it take to realize the metric system is superior?
Well, I think when I really started getting into woodworking and stuff as a professional, that's when I really notice the metric system. Otherwise, it was always just if I used sockets or wrenches and things like that. Nothing was really metric when I was in my world when I was growing up. So I wasn't really super exposed to the metric system. I was in weights and measures. We'll just leave it at that.
But is it the far superior?
Metric system is superior, I believe, because you don't have to do any math. It is either, what, 10 centimeters and 2 millimeters, or it's 150 millimeters. The crazy thing to me is I'm like, that's going to be 900 millimeters. I'm like, geez, how big is this place? And it's just like, I'm all, like, easy.
Oki says, good job, Hannah. Yes, good job. I love seeing the chat being so supportive.
Yeah.
You're always so kind and supportive and answering questions, and I just love it. Such a positive place to be around.
Let's do like Johnny does and do W's in the chat to Hannah for being a union carpenter. Yeah, W's in the chat. G Borgs, you got what I meant, right? Weights and measures, LOL. Tell you how much is in and out. I'm really slow at reading rulers. That's okay. Doesn't matter how slow you are at doing anything at all in your life. It's just as long as you have the courage to even start it. What if I had always wanted to build stuff, but I was like, I don't know if I can. Maybe I won't. I'd be working at some random job right now, I'm sure. Not making videos for you guys to inspire the world to build.
George says the metric system for woodworking is not for me.
Yeah, I just a lot of our things here in the United States aren't really set up for that. I know a lot of guys with their CNC machines do like to use the metric system and some shops, because like I said, is if you're dealing with imported plywood, you're dealing with metric sizes. And if you're buying materials from different places like domestic and import, it can really have you running around chasing your CNC settings. So I have been told, because I do not use one.
So dang it, Bobby says, what's the best place to learn enough to make a career change while working a different job?
You know what? Maybe trying to get a part-time job. Maybe if you know anybody around you that does these kind of trade works, if they need a helper, maybe sometimes on a side job. There's also places that are called maker spaces. They have them here and there. They're basically businesses that have tools and have people on hand, so to speak, that can teach you how to do things. Everything from like sewing, pottery, robotics, iron forging. Did I say pottery? I did say that. Woodworking. There's actually one in San Luis Obispo, the closest, one of the towns close to me, and it's called Makerspace. And you can go there and take a class and learn how to use whatever it is, and learn how to do the stuff that you would be doing, like how to make a sword or how to do 3D printing or those kind of things. Those are really great. You guys, I'm not trying to end our live, but my phone is dying.
But I do have to say on that point, finding a job, so many contractors right now in different trades that are begging to hire someone at a good rate just to teach them, and they're finding it hard to do. So they're out there.
Yeah, I know contractors looking for people right now that can't find people, and they're in my area. They're like, hey, we'll pay them $25-$30 an hour to start off, not knowing anything, training them for the trade. Want to train people to take on these trades, not just to show up and do their work and then get out and not learn anything. They're really looking for people to do that. And guess what? We can't find anyone. Mm-hmm. Everybody would rather work, these other jobs, I guess. If you're a female or if you're not, if you're a woman, you know what? Go for it, because the worst they could do is tell you no. And the only thing that holding you back is your own mind about it, because women are better at everything. Come on.
Well, and there's also that imposter syndrome that I think hits us all when we don't think that we're confident enough, and it's like...
I think that all the time. I'm like, they'll still tell me, oh, that's so beautiful. I'm like, yeah, it was just this. It was like that. Like, why are you so impressed by it, right? Like, honestly, I'm like, it wasn't really that big of a deal. But, I mean, I guess that it is. But I'm not sure what everybody does for a living, but if you would like to become your own boss, I would get into a trade.
Yeah, don't be scared, just do it.
Don't
Quit
be
the
scared.
Job, go get it. Just go for it.
Yeah. A chicken lady says a lot of contractors are always hiring and willing to train, at least around here in Oklahoma. And yes, here too.
Yep.
If there's anybody that is a woodworker in my area or wants to learn HVAC or actually knows plumbing, hit me up because I have people that need work, workers.
Yep.
Okay, you guys, we're gonna have to. Yeah, we're gonna have to cut it short. I have like 8% battery left, so it's just gonna cut off, and I don't want to just abandon y'all. Thank you guys for stopping by. We'll be back next week. If you have something like a topic that you want to go over, suggest it to me because this is what I'm here for: is you guys to answer your questions and help you guys build projects or help you guys figure out how to build, how to fix, how to get into these trades, all of that. This is information Google and AI don't have. And you know what? If any of y'all seen Terminator, fight that power. You know what I'm saying? So thank you guys for being here. If we missed your comment or if you have a comment or a question, feel free to reach out. There's a link in my bio that takes you to my email as well as Amazon lists.
Will we be back next Tuesday?
And as always, we will see you next Tuesday.
Let's go Dodgers.
Bye for now, friends. Somebody pulled me out in less than 10 minutes. 18 cents!
Woo!